Hey everyone, and welcome to This Week in Gaming, the weekly video game news show where I focus on things that have cropped up over the past week or so. You can check the description box below for links to relevant articles and trailers for the games that are shown off in this video. That said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into the news. So first off, Stardew Valley has announced that an Android version is coming soon. Stardew Valley is a critically acclaimed and fan-praised farming simulation game that has been out on PC and console for quite a while. Recently had a launch on the iOS mobile platform and is soon coming to Android. You could pre-register now on Google Play for $7.99, which is the same price as you would pay on iOS. Next up, we have the announcement of a remaster of the game Catherine. This is a game that came out quite a while ago on PlayStation. It's got a remastered version called Catherine Full Body coming out. I can't show much of this one here on the video because it's pretty risque, but you can check out the description below for links to the website and trailers as well. Grinding Gear Games has announced their next content patch for Path of Exile entitled Synthesis. In Synthesis, you're going to be encountering Kavis, recovering his lost memories, and chaining them together to reach valuable rewards, new boss fights, and crafting opportunities. This is fairly newly released, but you can check out the trailer and the website for more information. Battle Royale has officially gone free to play. If you're not familiar with the Battle series of games, the original Battle was a MOBA style arena brawling game where you got dropped into an arena and you played as kind of like a player character from a MOBA and you fought against other players without having to worry about stuff like killing towers and farming creeps. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit and it was pretty well received when it initially came out. The studio behind that game wanted to jump onto the Battle Royale's hype train, and so they made a second version of Battle called Battle Royale. So you're playing in a Royale style game, but you're using these MOBA characters, and I think that gameplay helps to set it apart from other Battle Royale games where you're essentially usually playing a third person or first person shooter. Battle Royale going free to play means a lot more people will have an opportunity to try it out. I personally have not tried it out myself yet, and the big thing for me is what is the monetization going to look like for this game, and just generally how fun is it? I'll be checking out the game in the coming weeks. And just taking a look at it here, you can see that it's the MOBA Battle Royale. You're exploring an island. There are several champions that are already available. They've got a champion pack where you can get all current and future champions in each class. So that's looking pretty good as far as that DLC is concerned, or that monetization system. I do really like champion packs. I like them in Smite. So, just at my initial glance here, it looks like they're probably doing things pretty good, but I, need to dive in and see exactly what's going on here. Now we're moving on to some brand new game announcements, and the first one here is Darkest Dungeon 2. There's a very short trailer for this. It doesn't really show too much, but if you're not familiar with Darkest Dungeon, it was a roguelike dungeon crawling RPG. It was very, very popular. It's very, very brutal. And I really enjoyed it when it first came to early access. I played it for dozens of hours. I kind of fell off of it and stopped enjoying the game as much before most of the DLC came out, so I didn't really get to experience that. I'm excited about Darkest Dungeon 2, which is called The Howling End. And I'm hoping that what they've done is they've learned all their lessons from Darkest Dungeon 1. They're going to implement those into Darkest Dungeon 2, and we're going to be able to start Darkest Dungeon 2 with a very robust experience compared to the place that the original started out in. That said, they did announce that Darkest Dungeon 2 will initially release in early access, which means we're going to get that same kind of process of them iterating on the game over time, but the studio has proven that they can put out a good game through the early access process, so I wouldn't really have any qualms about supporting them when early access comes out if you feel like it looks like they have a good amount of content. It does look like this is going to change the setting of the game to something a little more wintry, a little more mountainous, as you can see here in the picture, and that kind of makes sense. It does have the name of The Howling End, after all. Haven is a game that was announced recently, and we don't have too much information on it yet, but it is by the developers that did the game Fury, F-U-R-I. This was a well-received game that essentially just dropped you into boss fight after boss fight after boss fight and cut out all the stuff in between. So for people who really enjoyed challenging themselves with these tough boss fights, it was a fantastic game for them. Haven, as I said, is from the same developers, and there is a very short trailer that you can watch that doesn't really show you too much about the gameplay, but looking at the screenshots that they have down here, we've got some dialogue sections here. So this could imply that, maybe it's RPG style, or it could just be a set of dialogue. But it does look like you're going to do more than just, run around and fight boss battles over and over again. But the more important screenshot, I think, is this one here. This, to me, looks like you might possibly be using a turn-based combat system like you would find in a traditional JRPG or something like that. I'm not sure. It's just a screenshot, so I can't tell if these are in motion, but this definitely looks like the right sort of setup for a turn-based style game, although we're not seeing the traditional menu systems here that give us a wide variety of abilities, so I'm not entirely sure. If you enjoyed Fury, then I know you're looking forward to this game from the same developer. And if maybe Fury wasn't your thing, this does look like a totally different style of game. And this developer does have a good track record of putting out a high quality game and monetizing it correctly. So definitely check it out if you're interested. It also has just a really cool looking art style, which always appeals to me personally. The second Battle Royale game on the list this week is Spellbreak. Spellbreak has officially gone into closed alpha, and the bigger deal is that the NDA for the game has been lifted, so streamers and media outlets can now create content for the game. Spellbreak is an interesting take on the Battle Royale style game, presenting a different sort of approach to it, much like Battle Royale does. This one is focused on spell casting and being a magic user and combining your various spells together for sweet combos and sick looking effects. So the game has a pretty cool visual style. They're obviously putting a lot of emphasis on the spell effects. It looks very, very interesting. I did get into the alpha. I haven't played it yet, but I'll be checking it out over the coming weeks, and I'll be sure to post some videos and some content letting you know what I think. If you're personally interested, you can sign up for the closed alpha now, and hopefully they'll get a key to you pretty quick. I seem to get one pretty quickly after signing up, so it looks like they're trying to get an influx of new gamers in to play, so definitely get on this one right now if you're at all interested. Definitely looks cool to me. And as with any free to play game, as Spellbreak is intended to be when it launches, it all kind of comes down to how do they choose to monetize the game? What does the microtransaction system look like? Not a lot of details on that yet, but I'll be sure to post more information as we get it. The next game on the list is Hollow Knight Silksong. This is a sequel to the original Hollow Knight, which is a Metroidvania style game that was well received by critics and loved by fans alike, lauded as one of the best games during the year that it came out. I personally have played Hollow Knight myself. It's very enjoyable. I'm just not super great at Metroidvania games, so I haven't finished it yet. But with the announcement of Hollow Knight Silksong, I feel like I need to go do that because this looks fantastic. Originally intended to be a stretch goal DLC pack for Hollow Knight, the developers of Hollow Knight, Team Cherry, found that as they started to work on the DLC, it quickly became too involved and too large to be just a DLC, and that it needed to be its own game. Hollow Knight Silksong takes place in a different area of the same universe and features an entirely new character that we did see in the last game, but in terms of gameplay is a new character to play as who fights with a different style compared to the original Hollow Knight and is going to face different enemies, new bosses, and have all sorts of other new crafting and all kinds of stuff going on. So this looks fantastic. The art style is blowing my mind. I don't know how they managed to make it look even better than the first game, but this is shaping up to be so cool. This looks absolutely awesome, and I am very, very excited to get my hands on this and play it. As far as we know, there's no release date or anything like that announced yet, They just wanted to say, hey, this is going to be a full game now. So this company does have a very good track record of putting out games for reasonable prices and putting the gamer first. So you can definitely count on this studio to treat you right. They also put out several large DLCs for Hollow Knight entirely free. So that's just another reason to be excited about this game, because whatever this company does, they do it with the gamer in mind first, and you're going to get a lot of quality hours out of this game. That's going to do it for the new games this week. Next up, we've got some information about the combat system in the Outer Worlds. Now, if you're not sure what this game is, it is a game that's being created by Obsidian Studios, and a lot of people are excited for this game because Obsidian Studios is the studio behind Fallout New Vegas, which is my personal favorite Fallout if I was forced to pick one. The reason for this is they did a really good job of balancing the first-person shooter and RPG aspects of New Vegas. Essentially, instead of saying this is a first person shooter game with RPG elements, they were very good at making sure that it was an RPG with first person shooter elements. And I think a lot of people, including myself, appreciated that, because if we wanted a standard first person shooter, there's plenty of them on the market. So in this video that was released, this is an interview by Game Informer with some of the developers. They talked more in depth about the combat system. You can check the description below for the full interview if you want to watch it yourself. I wanted to talk about some of the points that they made. So first off, they talked about leadership. Essentially, you can put points into different stats, and one of those categories that you can put points into is leadership. Leadership allows you to improve the abilities of your companions. So there's going to be a companion system in the game, and it sounds like maybe if you don't want to focus on the companionship, then they're just kind of there as an extra body. But if you do want to focus on companionship, then you're going to, or leadership, you're going to put points into that. And as you do that, you're going to be giving up some of the ability that you would have to be good at combat. So what they're doing with this companion system is they're making it so that as you put points into leadership, your companions get stronger so that they can sort of help mitigate the reduction in combat effectiveness that you get from leadership. This is going to involve them, being able to deal more damage. The different companions are going to have different special abilities, and it sounds like a very interesting system. Now, I personally probably won't play this style. I mean, I might in a playthrough eventually, but I tend to like to play melee and just run up and smack people in the face with a crowbar. But for those of you who are interested in essentially what sounds like a pet class, this does sound like it's going to be a very good system, and that they're taking the time to make sure that it feels right, and you don't feel like you're playing as an inferior character because of it. The next thing that they talked about here was TDD, and I don't remember what the last D stands for, but it's a time delay system, kind of like VATS in Fallout. It sounds almost just like VATS in Fallout, as far as slowing down time and allowing you to get bonus damage depending on where you shoot the enemy. Something that I really liked that they talked about, however, was the way that they've implemented this system. Essentially, when you activate TDD, which I'm just going to call the time delay system from here on, when you activate the time delay system, you kind of have it sounds like you have like an energy bar. And, when that energy bar runs out, your time delay is up. But what I think is really cool about this is they're making it so that when you activate the time delay system, as long as you don't move or perform any actions, it doesn't really drain your energy. So what this means is you can hit the time delay system, and then you can just kind of sit there and look around and not worry about, oh, I've got 5 seconds until all my energy's gone and I'm right back into combat. It means that if you're in a stressful situation, you can take the time to assess what's going on and figure out what your next move is going to be. Once you start moving, then your energy will drain kind of slowly, and it's not until you actually start taking actions like shooting or attacking that your energy is going to drain a lot quicker. So I like this sort of progressive energy drain system that allows you to take a moment to take a breath and assess the situation, or it allows you to just quickly snap in and start dealing damage and getting your points. So for those of us who are maybe really familiar with first-person shooters and just want a slow time to get off a quick headshot, we could definitely do that. And for those of us out there who, maybe get into a situation and are like, oh, no, 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 you can hit this time delay system and take the time to figure out what your next move is. The next thing that they talked about was a brand system for the various weapons. This reminds me of what they do in Borderlands, where essentially there are these manufacturers of different types of weapons, and each of those manufacturers have a kind of like a strong point or maybe a weak point. Maybe all their weapons have a high rate of fire compared to everyone else's, or they have stronger elemental effects. They said that they're implementing a system like this in the Outer Worlds. So the examples that they gave is maybe there's a brand of gun that's really cheap and doesn't have a lot of customization options, but it's also really cheap to repair. So all around, it's just a type of weapon that doesn't cost you a lot of money to maintain, which this obviously clued us into the fact that there's going to be some sort of item degradation system and you're going to have to repair your gear, which can be okay depending on how it's implemented. I'm not super thrilled about it, but I'm not going to make any harsh judgments until I actually know what they're doing with it. But the other example they gave is that maybe there's another manufacturer who has weapons that have a lot of mod slots, so you can really customize them, but they cost a lot more to repair. So I think this is a cool system overall. Just based on this one video alone, I think the game is shaping up to be something really special that I'm really going to enjoy when it comes out, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Hope you are too. Like I said, you can check out the description below for the full trailer and take a look at what they've said yourself and see what you think. The last piece of news this week is about the Nintendo Direct February 2019 conference that was held and all the various announcements there. Lots and lots and lots of new stuff for the Nintendo Switch, which we're going to talk about here. So first off, Dragon Quest XI was announced as coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is a critically acclaimed, very traditional JRPG in the Dragon Quest series. We also have some more information about Fire Emblem Three Houses. Fire Emblem Three Houses is interesting because you're going to be choosing from one of three houses, and there's a combination of both fighting out on the battlefield and also training your officers at the Officers Academy. And from what I could tell, based on the trailers, it looks like there's actually a mix of different gameplay styles here. I can't confirm that, but just based on what I saw, it looked like there's some traditional turn-based stuff. There's these sort of training style mini games that you do at the Officers Academy, and then it also looked like maybe there was a little bit of like action RPG stuff going on. I haven't personally been really into a Fire Emblem game in a long, long time. This is one of the first console Fire Emblems, like in a traditional style, that's come out in quite a while. So I know a lot of people are excited about this. It definitely looks interesting. I will probably be giving this one a shot, depending on how they release it. I know in the past, Fire Emblem has started to go sort of the Pokemon route, where they release, 3 or 4 different editions of the same game, and you have to buy multiples in order to experience the whole thing. And I'm not a fan of that at all. So, if there's like 3 different editions for the 3 different houses, I probably would just, give this game a hard pass, but they haven't really said anything about that yet, to my knowledge. So as long as this comes out and it's just one game that you buy in one box, I think I'll give it a shot. These menu systems are reminding me of Valkyria Chronicles, which I'm a big fan of, and I do like turn-based strategy games. So we'll see how it goes. Super Mario Maker 2 is on the way. So this is a follow-up to the original Super Mario Maker, where you could design, old school style Mario levels. I know a lot of people are very into this. I personally am not one of them, but there is a sequel coming if you've been looking forward to that. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, is coming to Switch, and this is actually a Switch exclusive. The Ultimate Alliance series is a action RPG based around Marvel characters. It's been pretty well received in the past when it's come out, and obviously they're going to be updating this game to have a ton of all the characters we're familiar with from the new Marvel series of movies. I imagine, as you saw there, we're probably going to get Thanos. We've got all kinds of stuff going on here. I think a lot of these characters probably wouldn't have been highlights in the previous games, but now based on the cinematic universe, they're definitely going to be featured players here. I like third person action games and I like Marvel, so there's a pretty high chance that I'm going to be checking this out as long as they monetize it correctly. But it's kind of early on in the development process as far as news and information that we have, so I'm still waiting to see what the full details of the game are and how it's going to end up playing. It looks pretty cool so far though, and I'm looking forward to it, but not getting too hyped up for it yet. Well, we got some news about the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Spring Update. It was mostly about amiibos and when Joker, the Persona 5 character, was going to be coming out. Captain Toad Tracker has a upcoming paid DLC, but also has a free DLC coming up, a free update that is going to enable two-player co-op. We've got a little more information on Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is a Castlevania style game coming out. Dragon Quest Builders 2 is going to be released on the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4. I believe it's coming this July. The original Dragon Quest Builders was a fun game, kind of like Minecraft in a sense. You went around, you gathered resources, and you were completing quests for townspeople to help rebuild towns. Rune Factory 4 has been announced for the Nintendo Switch, and Rune Factory 5 has been confirmed to be in development. This is kind of like Fantasy Harvest Moon, where you're going to go around, you're going to be farming, collecting ingredients, going out to battle monsters, doing mini games like fishing and things like that as well. Another new game announced for the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4 is Oninaki. Oninaki is by a Japanese developer that has been doing traditional JRPG style games. This, however, looks like a third person action RPG instead. In this game, the main character summons demons and uses their abilities in battle. It kind of reminds me of Persona in a way. Maybe if you took Persona and the Persona system and implemented it into a third person action RPG, this might be what you get. There's not a ton of information out about the game. It does have a stunning visual art style that I think is just amazing, and I'd encourage you to watch the full trailer for the full visual effect here. I don't know too much about this, and it's yet to be seen whether this particular developer is able to prove themselves, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on this. I've got some hesitations because it is a sort of artsy, weird RPG being put out by or published by Square Enix, and in the past, those have always looked good and then kind of been as far as gameplay goes and never really held my interest. But this one does look really, really pretty, and as I've said before many times in this video, I do like third-person action RPGs. Yoshi's Crafted World has a demo that you're able to download in the Nintendo Store right now. So if you love Yoshi and you're interested in checking out this game, you could definitely play that as well. The new game from the creator of Undertale is coming to the Switch. We also have Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice coming to the Nintendo Switch. This was a game that was critically acclaimed mainly for its story and its subject matter. Not to say the gameplay was bad, but it was lauded for the subject matter that it touched on, where essentially its main character had a mental disorder. So definitely check this one out if you haven't given it a shot yet. Next up, we have Astral Chain from Platinum Games. This is the developer behind Bayonetta and Nier Automata. Obviously, some pretty heavy action games, and that's what this looks like, a third-person action RPG. But I just gotta say, I was not expecting this. For the Nintendo Switch, this looks insane. I don't know if this is a solo game or if you can play co-op. There are two characters here, but I don't know if they're being played individually or if they're being played in tandem. My guess is they're probably being played in tandem and it's part of some weird battle system because, it's Platinum Games. Uh, there's a stunning visual art style going on here. It looks absolutely amazing, even more so than the last game that we looked at. And I really don't know what else to say about this other than go watch the full trailer because this looks nuts. And I'm really looking forward to giving this game a shot when it comes out. I'm not sure if it's coming out for other platforms other than the Nintendo Switch, but I don't really care. I'll play this on the Switch. And the final game for the week, and one I'm sure that many, many people are excited about, is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, remastered for the Nintendo Switch. As you can see here, it's the classic game that many people have grown up loving and experiencing, but now in this very cute, very pretty 3D art style for the Nintendo Switch. I don't think that I really played Link's Awakening. I get the Zelda games kind of confused, if I'm being honest. Um, I have played most of them and never turned into like a super fan, but my wife is a super fan, and she is super excited about this. This is the game that she grew up on, grew up loving. The first game she actually bought for herself, and her parents didn't buy for her. And I mean, you just can't ignore Zelda these days after how well it's been doing, especially with Breath of the Wild. So I know there are tons and tons of people that are probably going to be very excited about this game. I'm definitely going to give it a shot. There's no way I'm not going to own it because my wife is definitely going to get it. So I'll give it a shot, try it out, see what it's all about. All right, well, that's it for this week in gaming. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found some new games to be excited about and maybe some new content for stuff that you're already playing, new stuff to try out, good mix of free to play, upcoming, currently released stuff. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video. This is a new format for me, and I'd love to know what I got right and maybe what I could have improved on. For those of you who are here for World of Warcraft, if you haven't caught the news, check out my channel roadmap video to get some more information on the direction of the channel and where I'm headed in 2019. I'll have a link to that in the description below as well. I hope that you're having fun in everything that you're doing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you on the next video.